in this edition of Fifth Gear, the new Golf GTI, and it's Vauxhall's Monaro versus the MG V8 in our latest shootout. But first, Vicky.
So far this year, the number of new cars that have been bought in Europe is about the same as last year. But there is a sector where sales are up by nearly 30%.
Mini MPVs. It's no use pretending. Even when filmed somewhere really mean and moody, you're never going to make Mini MPVs look handsome. Nor are they particularly sporty. But they are a desirable thing to have on your fleet because they carry lots of people and lots of luggage, although not necessarily at the same time. But with the seats down, there's plenty of room for whatever you fancy. We've chosen the Mini MPVs that can squeeze in at least 6 people. And to find our favourite, we're going to test the things that you never normally hear about, but we think are really important. So by the end of the show, you'll know which car's cabin is the quietest and has the most practical seating arrangement, which one is the easiest to see out of,
I can't see anything.
and which copes best with an emergency manoeuvre. Join us later.
Now to the part of the show where we find out what's quickest, the Fifth Gear shootout. This week, we're focusing on 2 value-for-money V8s, MG's V8 ZT and Vauxhall's Australian import, the Monaro, both available for around £28,500. On paper at least, the MG sounds impressive, but its ugly 4.6-litre V8 engine and rear-wheel drive chassis are going to have their work cut out to beat Vauxhall's Monaro, which has 68 horsepower more and is over 100 kilos lighter. So MG have given us what we always wanted, a British-built rear-wheel drive muscle car. OK, they've had to get an American V8 engine and stick it in. But I don't care where it comes from, as long as it gives me 260 horsepower to the rear wheels. Although it could use a little bit more. This chassis, since it was originally designed to be a front-wheel drive car, is actually very good indeed. It's a shame I didn't have more of a muscly interior to put me more in the mood, and some slightly better brakes, as these tend to have a rather soft pedal. Turn-in's good, the steering doesn't give me that much feel in the feedback. Oh. Right, let's set a time. Time to keep things neat and tidy. Just a touch of opposite lock. Smoothly through the radar complex and round the hairpin, and on to set a very respectable time of 55.6 seconds. Let's see if the Monaro is as well balanced around the track. Unfortunately for MG, this Vauxhall has got a 5.7-litre Chevy V8. And it's got a lot more grunt. It's even got a snazzier interior to get me a bit more in the mood. Not that I need an interior to get me in the mood for this sort of motoring. Bring it on. Again, only 3 gears needed. Well, in fact, I need 2, because with the grunt of this Holden, I don't need first gear for the hairpin. The steering's a bit more communicative, the gearbox has got a bit of a feel. The diff on this car seems to be tighter. I think they're the same manufacturer. Oh, the only shame is that inside this Vauxhall, you don't hear enough of that big, brutal V8 blasting out its power. I won't be able to have this much fun when I'm going for a lap time, but it's still going to be wagging its tail. The Monaro may be lighter and have more power, but it's only 0.05 of a second ahead by the radar complex. But by the time it's blasted down to the hairpin, it's extended its lead to 0.9 of a second. The Monaro's on a roll, and it flashes across the finishing line a whopping 1.5 seconds ahead. So, if it's a bargain V8 you're after, you now know where to go.
We're on a mission to find our favourite Mini MPV, and first up is a test of their cabins. We're looking to see if those seats work as well as they claim, and also how noisy they are on board.
In a car like this, silence is golden. You want the driving experience to be a restful thing. And if you've got a full complement of passengers, you don't want to be straining against the road noise to have a conversation.
I have here a professional decibel meter, and we're going to find out which car is the quietest at a motorway speed of 70 miles an hour. Our first contestant is...
The recently facelifted Fiat Multipla. It has 2 rows of 3 seats, which comfortably accommodate men even in the largest of coats. At a steady 70 miles an hour, an average of 73.2 decibels means it's about as noisy as a flushing toilet.
Next up is the brand spanking new Honda FR-V. Like the Multipla, it seats 3 abreast. It's not as wide, but the men in large coats can relieve some shoulder pressure by whizzing the centre seats back. At 70 miles an hour, it registered 75.5 decibels, about 2 dBs more than the Multipla. Doesn't sound much, but the way the decibel scale works means even small differences represent a perceptible increase in noise.
Now we're into the 7-seaters. The Vauxhall Zafira's rearmost seats are cleverly stowed in the floor, but frankly, they're only fit for kids. At 70 miles an hour, it registered 74.6 decibels, louder than the Fiat, but quieter than the Honda.
The 6th and 7th seats in the Touran are a no-cost option, and they're easily flopped into the floor. At motorway speeds, we found it to be equally as noisy as the Vauxhall.
All 5 of the Toyota Corolla Verso's back seats can be folded completely flat at the flick of a wrist, which we reckon makes it the cleverest cabin here, and also a bit like a van. With 73.7 decibels, it's quiet, but not the quietest.
Finally, we have the Renault Grand Scenic, which is a couple of inches longer than the normal Scenic. However, like all these 7-seaters, the rear 2 are strictly for small people. At 70 miles an hour, it registered 74.5 decibels, meaning the overall winner of this cabin test is the 6-seater Fiat Multipla. It's very practical and it's the quietest.
For our next test, we're going to see which car is easiest to see out of, because one of the side effects of making cars safer is that the glass area is reduced and the pillars end up being thicker. It's great for withstanding crash forces, but unfortunately great at impairing your field of view as well.
Right, I'm going to pretend to reverse. I'm going to look over my left shoulder. Tom's over there standing.
Hello.
And he is going to walk towards the car, and we're going to see how close he can get to the car before I see him. Come on then, big boy.
Can you see me?
We know it's pretty unscientific, but we were interested in seeing how a chunky C-pillar and awkwardly placed headrest could conceal a large object if the angle was just right. Tom got to within 1 pace of the Toyota and the Honda before he blossomed into view, but with most of the others he was visible for around 2.5 paces. The winner by miles was the Fiat Multipla. Yes, I can see you now. I spotted him from 5 paces away because of the larger glass area compared to its rivals. It also makes the cabin feel light and airy and ensures a good view for the kids.
Join us later for our final test, when we find out which Mini MPV copes best with an emergency manoeuvre.
Today we're inaugurating no-holds-barred Caravan Rallycross. We've chosen 4-wheel drive Sierras, a pair of 2-berth Caravans and the Brighton Park Rallycross track. Our event will also require 2 experts. The first found fame and fortune as a Top Gear presenter, but in a previous life was a leading rally co-driver. He'll use his considerable experience to oversee today's proceedings. It is, of course, Tony Mason.
Caravan racing and rallying was quite a big sport, you know, in the 70s. It was a good sport and a lot of fun and so on, but also it was big business. And they used to have an international caravan rally, which was held in Britain. The Ford Motor Company entered us, Roger Clark and myself, and we were like the top British rally crew of the time. There were huge publications of all the regulations for this event, and you were penalised for not being fast enough or for hitting a cone. And also the caravan had to be intact and in pristine condition and not have too many dents on it and not have cupboard doors falling off, and all the food should be in the fridge inside and everything like that, you see. But we actually got back to Silverstone some day and a half later or something and found we were within seconds of winning the event. So all the Ford mechanics had to rush to a grocer near Silverstone and top up all the food because Roger Clark and I had eaten it all, you see.
Tony and Roger took a class win, beating luminaries like ProDrive boss David Richards. Also on the entry list was Peter Smith, owner of Swift, now the biggest caravan and motorhome manufacturer in Britain. His son, Guy, is our second expert, and he'll go head-to-head with me on our rallycross track. But he'll be no pushover. He won last year's Le Mans with Bentley. He is a big fan of caravans, but reckons it's motorhomes that teach you more about racing.
When we're driving a racing car, what we're really looking for is for the car to take a set. And when I mean take a set, you can feel the car kind of move around and it stops moving, and at that point we're able to pick up the throttle. We're doing exactly the same thing in the motorhome. Obviously to a lesser extent, a much lower speed, but it's the same principles apply. You turn in, the motorhome rolls, it takes a set, and I pick up the throttle, and that's exactly the same way that I drive this as I would drive the Bentley racing car.
Guy will be racing the blue Sierra with the Swift Doublette. I'll be in the grey Sierra with a classic Castleton.
Right, well, this is the big moment. Let's see what the boys have got to say.
That kid, just because Daddy makes the flipping things, I suppose he thinks he'd be good at driving them.
I think I've definitely got the stronger package.
He's won Le Mans once, I believe, and he's still racing champ cars.
My aim is to beat Tiff.
But, you know, I think experience will tell, Tony.
So there's going to be no hold barred.
Right, well, excitement's mounting. This is what we've all been waiting for. 3, 2, 1, and they're off.
Come on, mate.
Oh, look at that guy Smith really getting ahead. Tiff now getting covered in water, and the good rally driver that he used to be putting the wipers on. Splendid.
Oh, sorry, Tiff. Hand slip there. Whoa, big slide, big wag. Only every caravan that drove like this at Easter. Tiff is right on my chuff now.
He's flipping my back. Oh, I think I'm on 2 wheels. Le Mans drivers aren't as courteous as they used to be.
Look at them absolutely leaning on each other side by side, and the cars as well. This is unbelievable, this formation. Dancing, this isn't racing. This is absolutely fantastic.
Just 1 quarter to go for victory. Swine. Oh, he's hitting me on the straight. Oh. Guy took the win, but I was determined to finish. Come on, come on, come on, boy. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah. Suppose you think you're clever, do you now? Oh, I won them all. Oh, and I beat different caravan races.
5th Gear's favourite hot hatch is the Honda Civic Type R. This is its big new rival, and I'm reporting for duty to see if it's any good. The Volkswagen Golf GTI. Unfortunately, it's heavier than the Civic. It's slower than the Civic, and at £20,000, it's £4,000 more than the Civic. So why oh why would you buy one?
Now, I love the Civic Type R's engine, so long as you're revving it. It's got to be driven hard. You've got to be above 6,500 revs to get the power from it, and then it's fantastic. But that's only my mad half hour. The rest of the time, you're not always in the mood to be scaring passers-by, revving the back out of it. And this is where the Golf is great. It's a turbocharged 2-litre engine. That basically means is you get much more power low down, so you don't have to be revving it all the time. Of course, if you do, it's still got loads of power, but even in third gear, fourth gear, at low revs, it's got plenty of poke.
But the thing that's impressed me most is the optional direct shift gearbox, or DSG. It's a beautiful system and definitely the future of changing gear.
Why on earth manufacturers like Ferrari and Aston Martin, who make these trick fancy Formula 1 gearboxes, can't make something like this? It defies logic. It's a manual gearbox, but it's got 2 clutches. So the first, third and fifth have got a clutch on their own. Second, fourth and sixth have got a clutch on their own. So the gear you're going to go to is always engaged. And it makes for instantaneous, perfect, accurate gear changes up and down the gearbox. Just take a listen to this. We'll knock down to second. We'll give it some poke. And then I'll change up. It's just perfect. For me, this is the biggest step forward in gearbox technology I've ever driven. It is fabulous. DSG, what's it going to cost you? Well, £1,300. I think that's buttons when you consider what it does to the car. This car is quicker to 60 than your manual gearbox. So the DSG makes for quicker changes, gets you places faster. We like that.
To find out more, we dropped by Bernie Eccleston's state-of-the-art Paul Ricard circuit, which nestles in the south of France. Here, tyre walls and gravel traps have been replaced by high-grip paint, making it a blueprint for tracks of the future.
Now, I used to instruct at Paul Ricard, and it's a great little test track for cars. Particularly this section is there's a quick right-left. And what we're doing, nearly 100 mile an hour here. One of the nicest parts about this new Golf GTI is the steering. Really nice weighting, get lots of feedback, car goes exactly where you want it to. Now, of course, driving road cars on circuits is not an ideal thing to do. You can always pick fault with them. But I have to say, I'm really enjoying this new Golf. It's not like the old one. The old one was a bit too safe, a bit too wallowy, a bit dull, dare I say. But this is altogether different. Really good fun.
I can't help feeling the Civic Type R is a bit friskier on a track and rewards the hooligan more. But you know what? Driving sideways isn't everything.
For me, buying cars is more than just about the drive. It's about living with it every single day. And I have to say, the Golf is a great place to be. The finish is fantastic, the fit, it's a place you want to be. And then there's the image. This is still the only hot hatch I'd take my girlfriend to a posh hotel in. But the big question is, should you buy one over the Civic Type R? You bet you should.
He's a triple world champion with 27 Grand Prix victories. Jackie Stewart has just released a DVD biography, and the chance to watch his home movies from the good old days is something I jumped at.
I'd have to say the Nürburgring. In 1968, it would never have been allowed today.
In atrocious conditions, the German Grand Prix got underway. Dense fog and heavy rain had delayed the start for an hour, and even as they raced, visibility was little more than 100 yards.
It was a good, clean, big win on the world's most dangerous, treacherous, exciting, biggest circuit the world's ever seen or will ever know. I'm dyslexic. I can't. If you give me instructions to get to Marble Arch from here, I couldn't get there. And yet I can remember now every braking distance, every gear shift, every corner of the Nürburgring. 187 corners per lap in those days, 14.7 miles or 23 kilometres. Now I can still do that now. It's banked in here.
You were a young married man, Jack. You couldn't
young...
take full advantage of all the, excitement that was going on around you, perhaps.
I think what you're referring to are attractive ladies. You being a racing driver understands that. Clearly, I was considerably more focused and absolutely concentrating deeper than you, because frankly I never saw
Some
any
of your
them.
colleagues.
I think some of my
enjoyed
colleagues probably
themselves.
did see some pretty girls. but I tell you, motor racing in my day was very dangerous, and sex was safe.
I just lifted off, but it was too late. I'd lost it, and around I went going down the road backwards, and I just got it to a stop by the side of some railings. And I started looking for the gear. I think the gear lever was this side. As I looked down, I thought, bugger me, I said, there's Jackie down there in a car. And I thought, oh, God, he doesn't look so good.
When I had my accident in Spa, I was so badly treated. No emergency team of people to help me. No marshals there, no ambulance there. When I finally got to the medical centre, I was put on the floor with a whole lot of cigarette ends. And then they took me to a hospital where the police escort lost the ambulance driver, and they didn't know where to go. All of these things were very clear after they had happened and said, this can't go on.
Danger. To some, it's pure box office. They think it's the risk that makes motor racing.
I mean, Sterling Moss sort of often harks back to how, it's too safe now and the drivers don't respect each other enough. They drive into each other because there aren't any dangers. Do you think there's an element of truth in his argument?
There is, because I'll tell you one thing which will kind of shock, I think, you and maybe some of our audience. Michael Schumacher makes more mistakes every Grand Prix weekend than any Grand Prix multiple world champion I've ever known. I mean, the number of times I went off in a Grand Prix in my entire career I could count in one hand. Because if you went off the road, there's a very good chance you were going to hit something hard and you were going to hurt yourself, never mind the car.
You did go through this awful period to go to so many funerals. I mean, do you ever understand, can you yet explain to people really how you're able to go to those funerals and then get back in a racing car and just go out onto a track again and again?
Compartmentising the mind. I mean, memorial services and funerals, looking after the widows at the track, packing cases of a dead man. Terrible. I'll never forget at Monza, when Jochen was killed, I was in tears. And I have to admit, by the Lesmos, I was back in the slot, and I went round and I did, I think, 2 flying laps and did the fastest laps I'd ever had at Monza, ever. But I'll never forget getting out of the car and bursting into tears. Suddenly it all came back to me, and Ken had given me a bottle of Coca-Cola. I'll never forget smashing it against the wall, just out of sheer frustration about why are we doing this stupid thing.
There were rumours of one of my favourite cars, the McLaren F1, being somewhere in the family. Have you driven one of those?
It's definitely in the family, but it's not Daddy, it's the rich son. No, Paul's got one.
Yeah, have you driven it?
I have, but very little. I mean, he's quite selfish about it. But it's a stimulating car. I still think it is the best supercar. I think Gordon Murray and Ron Dennis and that team did a hell of a job. He drove me in it the other day because I had a friend of mine down and we put him on one side and me on the other. The seat, as you know, the driver's seat's in the middle. And even when I get in it now, I still get a buzz from it.
We're finding our favourite mini multi-purpose vehicle. Our final test will show how the cars perform in a typical emergency manoeuvre, braking heavily in a corner from 50 miles an hour. It's a test Euro NCAP will soon conduct to encourage the sort of benign handling that helps avoid accidents in the first place. Here we go.
So you're at 50 miles an hour, then we're going to turn in and hit the brakes. We were amazed how similarly the cars performed. Stamping on the brakes at the same moment every time resulted in most of them ending up in the same place, with the electronic safety aid shepherding the cars to a halt. However, in this test, the Honda and the Renault ploughed 2 car widths wider than anything else. They didn't feel any more dramatic than the others, but they seemed to be enabled to hold as tight a line.
So, with all the tests complete, our favourite Mini MPV is the Fiat Multipla. It's the quietest, has the best visibility, and it handles neatly. It also has the most fun interior, and with the back seats out of the way, the largest carrying capacity. We love it.